Good morning, my name's Mark and I'm from TMS Kia. I'm our product specialist and I just wanted to do a bit of a video for you on the all new Niro. Now it does come in three grades. This particular one is the hybrid, but it does come in a plug-in hybrid and a full electric EV as well. But yeah, the one I've got today is the HEV in black, which is a 1.6 petrol engine with a hybrid battery as well. Now, some of the changes you'll notice straight away to the new design of the Niro is the sloping bonnet that goes round, so it gets rid of the harsh corners, which we generally have with a front bumper, which makes it a bit more aerodynamic. And you'll notice as well the new signature heartbeat style indicators and LED running lights on the front of the car. We've also got rid of a lot of the grille space at the front there and made it wider at the bottom. Not only does it help with the aerodynamics of the car, but also just improves the styling, so you get a bit more of the looks very similar to the Sportage that we released earlier this year, and obviously incorporating the brand new Kia badge as well. Now this particular one is a 2 spec, which is the entry level. We also offer a 3 and a 4 spec as well, but I'll go through the features that you'll get on them as we go through. Now as you come round to the side of the car, you've also got new style design wing mirrors to the Niro. So instead of just being flat, they're actually shaped. Again, this is going to help with the aerodynamics, which in turn will improve your fuel consumption. But also, a lot of what we've designed with the new Niro is to get rid of as much road noise as we can. So with the way we've designed the front bumper and bonnet, all the way down the car, you've also got the roof rails built in, which are actually black gloss, so they go in with the colour of the car. But as you come down, one of the big features we've added to the new Niro is this aerodynamic C-pillar. So you'll notice the little vents on the side of the car here, which you can actually see straight through to the back of the car. There's a couple of reasons we've done this. One, it helps with the downforce and the aero drag on the car, which again will help your mile per gallon, but also it does help to give you a bit more of a premium feel inside the car. So when you've got passengers in the rear, there's going to be less wind noise because the wind is actually travelling through these vents and out the back. Again, with the C-pillar, you can also, depending on which spec you go for, so with the EV 4 spec, you can actually change the colour of this. So you can have it to knock back to the car. For instance, on our launch day we had a white one with a grey C panel. You can also get black as well, or simply have it colour coded into the car, whichever is your preference. With this 2 spec HEV, we've actually got the 16-inch alloy wheels, so they are a bit smaller, but it does help to give you a better fuel return and also give you a bit more comfortable ride as well. Now as you come around the back, you'll notice as well we've brought over the boomerang shaped rear lights. Again, this comes from the all new Sportage, and it's going to be going into future models that Kia produce. As you come around the back, you'll notice the heartbeat signature style lights on the rear of the car as well. Your rear view camera is built in, and actually a little bit higher than it was on the previous Niro to give you a better visibility when you are reversing through the camera. Also, the way the rear is designed is again to be a bit more aerodynamic, because everything we do now is aimed at making sure we get you the best fuel return we can, especially with fuel prices being as high as they are currently. Who wouldn't be happy with having a couple of more miles extra per tank? As we go into the boot itself, we actually no longer have a hard surface parcel shelf anymore. The reason we've done this is because we know when people go on holiday or they're packing stuff in their car, this gets taken out and left at home and potentially never goes back in the car again. The idea of having the parcel shelf designed like this is that actually I'm going on holiday with my family, I need all the boot space I can, I've got that now, and I can actually fold this up and store it away in the handy little bag that it comes in, so that once I get back from a holiday I can pop it back in, but it's no longer going to sit in my house and be forgotten about. And then as you can see from the boot space, you've actually got far greater room than previous Niro. You're looking at around about 20 litres more space. So again, when you are going on holiday, putting suitcases in, putting all the golf equipment, anything like that, you will notice it's a lot easier. It's a little bit wider as well, so that you can get buggies in a bit better. So that's the rear of the car. And then as I move round, you'll see quite a lot of similarities that we've taken from both Sportage and EV6. For example, the way we've designed the front seats now is exactly the same as the EV6. So you get these cutouts, which makes it less claustrophobic in the back. It means you've got more visibility, but actually also gives you a lot more room for your passengers in the back. We've also done away with the cargo netting on the back of the seats. And you'll notice on the passengers one instead, you've actually got a hardware and plastic. So if you were storing letters, documents in the back of the car, you can still do it, but it's wiped clean, rather than with a cargo netting where it can be a bit clumsy and find that the cords snap and then you have to replace them. And then as we go through to the front of the car, you're going to notice that we've got the same wraparound display as you would get in the EV6 and also the Sportage. With this particular one, because it's a 2-spec, it does have the smaller infotainment screen with your radio and stuff built in. If you go for the 3 and the 4-spec, you get the larger screen with the navigation built in. But we've also got the EV6 style steering wheel, and I will go through that for you once we go out on the drive, because there's a few things that make that a pretty awesome addition to this vehicle. As I look at the door card, just something to note as well is that instead of having just a flat line door card with all your controls on, Kia have actually made it slope down. So when you are driving along, it's a lot easier to get to your buttons, and just adds to the design of it as well. And again, we are reusing recycled plastics. So inside the car, you've got soft touch plastics on the dash, just to give it a bit more of a premium feel. So what we're going to do next, we're going to take it on a drive just so I can go through a few of the features, and then see what you think afterwards. Thank you. So we're inside the all-new Niro. As I've said, this is the 2-spec. You can get a 3 and a 4. However, this is actually still packed with quite a lot of technology and a very comfortable drive as well. So for instance, we still have our automatic lights built in. We've got the EV6 style steering wheel, which is brilliant because you don't have a lot of barrier between you and your screen. So actually, although the steering wheel is up high, I can see all the instrument panel in front of me, my speed, my rev counter, how much battery, fuel I've got quite easily. It's not obstructed. But on the steering wheel here, you can see I've got adaptive cruise as well. So fantastic for them motorway and dual carriageway journeys where I'm not having to keep altering the speed. The car will do that for me, with also my radio and my Bluetooth controls built in on the other side. What we have done, the previous Niro used to have a sport mode button down here, which wasn't ideal for when you're driving along to be looking down. So we've actually placed it in the same way that you would get on the EV6, and it's literally at the touch of a button in your hands without having to look down and be put off by it. You'll also see in the centre console here, we've got quite a large console, but with a nice piano black fascia on it, with the automatic gearbox. We also have the auto hold, which will hold the handbrake for us, a bit like hill start assist when we come to traffic lights. The electronic handbrake, and I've also got parking sensors and the rear camera button on there as well, which actually bring up the rear camera on the car, so I can actually see what's going on behind. As I said earlier, we have actually lifted the camera up, so instead of just getting the bottom half of the car, I've actually got a very clear picture of what is going on around me as well, which is absolutely brilliant. With the new design of the Niro, we have also changed the cup holders. So I've got my cup holders out at the moment, but I can just flip them back in to give me a bit more storage space. And although I wouldn't exactly call it a centre console anymore, I have still got a bit of space there for storing things when this is down. But if I'm carrying something larger, I can actually remove that out and then utilise the whole space, which is absolutely brilliant depending on what you're doing with your car, because it does mean if I've got large objects like tablets, I can actually fit them in there without them banging around too much at all. So what we're going to do, we're going to go for a bit of a drive, and I'm just going to go through a few of the things for you, and then see what your thoughts are afterwards. So driving the new e-niro, the new Niro, and I've actually got it in sport mode at the moment, which basically stops it from going into EV mode and will actually charge the battery up. However, I'm now going to switch it over to the eco, and straight away I'm at 33 mile an hour, and the EV has come on and it's turned the petrol engine off. The great benefit of that is it will start using that battery that's charged up and actually save me an absolute fortune when it comes to my MPG and my fuel consumption. Without the battery itself, you'll get around about 45 miles a gallon. With the battery running, and as long as you're in eco mode and driving it as you should be, you quite easily get between 50 and 55, which I think is a brilliant return for having a partial electric car, for want of a better phrase. But I'm finding that with the EV6 style steering wheel, I've actually got full control of the car, but actually it's a bit of a nicer feel to it, and it seems to be a bit better in terms of when I'm directing the car around a corner, it's doing it without any effort at all. It's quite nice not having all them spokes in the way as well. So I can hold on to the bottom if I want to, wherever you're comfortable. But with the wraparound displays, the one thing Kia have done really well is they've actually incorporated them into the dash, so they don't stick up and beyond, which actually gives me this really nice soft plastics, but makes it look really nice, and I don't feel like the window screen is too much in my face. So from a comfortability point of view, it's brilliant. One of the major things I can tell you as well with the all new Niro is that not only is road noise and tyre noise reduced, but I can't hear the engine when it kicks in and when it kicks out. I can only tell when it's happening by the EV button on the dash. So it's got a lot better soundproofing at the front of the car as well. Definitely feels a lot more luxurious than the previous outgoing Niro. But I've also got quite large wing mirrors, so I can see what's going on behind me without having to fully stare into one of the mirrors. And the way they're angled, as I said earlier, is to help the fuel consumption. I can tell you now, I've only been driving for just over a mile, and instead of being at 22 mile per gallon on just the engine itself, I'm actually up to 103 miles to gallon, which will come down as the engine does kick in, but it's such a big difference by having that hybrid battery. Obviously if you go for the plug-in, you will actually get 33 miles on pure battery before the engine kicks in, and then it will act like a normal hybrid. And obviously on the EV, so the Niro EV, we actually estimate now around about 285 miles per range. One thing they have done with the EV as well, for anyone who is driving e-niro currently, is they've reduced the torque to stop the wheel spin, so it should actually save your front tyres as well, as giving you a bit more of a comfortable drive. But I haven't got the radio on, it's really quiet. With the way these C-pillars are working, there's no road noise in the back of the car because the wind is literally carrying on through the side of the car and out the back, and not catching on the doors. But I've got quite a lot of space around me as well, and the cup holder's quite nicely placed, especially for the driver because it's within arm's reach. And yeah, the way the door cards are done, this is fantastic because I can actually just feel where my window buttons are without having to look, because it's angled and it's not just straight down. So I wanted my mirrors, I can get to them quite easily without having to look. But also for resting your arm, it's actually pretty nice. Now the one thing that you don't get with the 2 spec is the bigger sat-nav screen. So if you went for a 3 or 4, you would have the 10.25 inch screen with the navigation built in. With the 2-spec, although you don't have the nav, you do have the ability to use Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, so you can just use the USB there, plug your phone in, and that'll just then use Google Maps off your phone. But also with the 3 and the 4, you can get options like heated seats, heated steering wheel for the winter months, if that is something that you particularly want. And again, you can look into things like blind spot monitoring as well. So I would urge you to look at the brochure and decide, you know, is there features that you particularly want? Is there features that you think you can live without? However, obviously, as the video gets older, it won't stand, but as this has just launched, currently we are able to get all new Niro for this year. So if you are looking at placing an order, don't be put off thinking that you're going to take 12 months to get one. I would urge you to pop in and see one of our sales team, because at the moment it is looking like we can get them from September. So I would urge you to come and see a salesperson about that. And yeah, if you wanted a test drive, again, something I would really urge. Even if you have a previous shape Niro, I would still urge you to drive this car, because the characteristics of it are a lot better, a lot more refined, and a lot more premium as well. So really hope that you like my video of the external and the interior of the new Niro. Once we get the EV, I will do another video on that as well, because that is slightly different. But I want to thank you for your time in watching this video. And if you did want to pop down and speak to a salesperson at TMS Kia, more than happy to. And we look forward to seeing you. So thank you very much.